back to my channel. It's Michelle Amaray. Today I'll be filming my oxtail seafood gumbo recipe. This is a really quick and easy recipe. I'm not starting from scratch to make my roux or my base, so this is definitely something you can get done during the weekday or whatever the case may be, and just have something nice and warm to eat during the cold winter or the fall season as the weather's dropping. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into this. Now, the first thing you're gonna want to do is to quickly get started on your oxtails. That's what's gonna take the longest. I don't have a pressure cooker, so that would help cut time, but because I don't, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that. You can also substitute oxtail with chicken or another kind of meat that's a lot easier and quicker to cook if you really need to make this recipe in a haste. All right, so first things first, all the ingredients are here. I have some gumbo shrimp. I have some parsley, some cilantro, a nice big red bell pepper, a green red bell pepper, some red onions, habanero peppers, as well as my oxtails. I prefer to go get the smaller versions or the smaller cut, and then also some jalapeno smoked sausage. And last but not least, it's my gumbo base. So I'll be using the Louisiana brand gumbo base just to make things super quick and easy and hasten up the process. Also forgot to mention that I'll also be using a broth. I'll be using a beef broth. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started on the oxtails. I just have them cooking in a medium-sized pan. I'm gonna go ahead and roughly chop up some garlic as well as my one habanero pepper, and then go ahead and add all my spices into the oxtail and let that baby cook for as long as it needs to. And I'll show you guys how long I cook it and how it starts looking when it's ready. So I'm super African, so I shamelessly put Knorr or Maggi in a lot of my different dishes. So I'll be spicing this up with some Knorr chicken bouillon. And lastly, I'm gonna put in some Jamaican curry powder. All right, it's all spiced up. I'm gonna go ahead and add some water and let that boil on the stove. So now I'm gonna start preparing all my other ingredients. I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting my sausage. I like my sausages cut in like a diagonal. All right, so I'm done dicing up all my veggies. You wanna make sure you dice them up in like squares, kind of small, so that you can still see them inside your gumbo, but not too small. So here I have both my parsley and my cilantro taken off the stems. I'm gonna go ahead and finely chop both of them. I really love using cilantro in dishes like gumbo because cilantro just gives a very nice and fresh taste, especially because it complements the other flavors and the ingredients in the gumbo very nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop these up and get them ready and set them aside. So my oxtails have been cooking for a good minute. Let me go ahead and show you guys how they're looking right now. I know they're almost ready because I can easily put my fork through them and they're getting very nice and soft. So now they're not cooked all the way to the point where they're like coming off the bone, which is how I personally like my oxtails, but it's like almost to that point, and that's perfectly okay. I'm going to go ahead and cook the oxtails all the way through inside the gumbo, just so that all the seasoning and all the flavors in the gumbo base itself will enter into the oxtails and make it super delicious. So while that's going, before we get to that point, I'm gonna go ahead and work on my sausage as well as my shrimp. I'm gonna go ahead and put them on a pan and just sear them, and so that they can get melanated. Personally, I don't like just putting like sausage and shrimp inside my dishes. I like giving them some work before I put them in, just because presentation wise it looks a lot better. And not only that though, when you put them on a pan and sear them, it helps add even more flavor into them and just makes the dish even much more flavorful when you're done with it. So I'm gonna go in with some olive oil and lightly spray my pan. And I'm just using some Zatarain's Creole seasoning. And with my shrimp that is dry and patted down dry, I'm gonna go ahead and put that onto my stove. And add my seasoning. I'm just gonna go ahead and let it cook for about 2 minutes on each side. We're just cooking it so it can get melanated, not to really cook it all the way through. We're gonna cook it all the way through inside the gumbo itself. And now with that done, I'm gonna go ahead and pour my oxtails into a bigger pan or a bigger pot. This is where I'm gonna cook my gumbo. All right, for my oxtails, I'm gonna go in with my beef stock. And this beef stock is exactly 1 quart. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour all of that in. Now that my shrimp is done, in this same pan, I'm gonna go ahead and add my smoked sausage and just cook that down. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my veggies, my bell peppers, my habanero peppers, as well as my onions, and just let it cook. Now I'm gonna go in with my parsley and my cilantro. All right, now that my sausage is nice and golden brown, I'm gonna go ahead and drain it and put my sausage aside. I'm actually going to take the juices and the oil that came out of the sausage and put it into my gumbo, just so that it gives it a nice smoky taste. All right, now that my gumbo has been brought to a boil, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my gumbo base. You wanna go ahead and whisk this in slowly. So now the gumbo has been brought to a boil. I'm gonna go ahead and cover it and allow it to continue to cook, probably for about 15 to 20 minutes before I revisit and check on it. All right, so our gumbo is looking absolutely beautiful. It's been cooking for about 10 minutes now. You wanna make sure that you're stirring it during that period. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my shrimp and my sausage and let it cook for about another 5 minutes, and we'll be done. So here's my smoked sausage. And then my shrimp. Go ahead and give it a good stir. And just cover it and let that baby cook. So it has been about 5 minutes and our gumbo is ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this fire off, but it looks absolutely beautiful. This is the final look of my dish. It came out amazing. You guys will definitely love this, so definitely give it a try. If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below what more you'd like to see from me. Bye.
You a bad girl and your friends bad too. Oh, you got the swag, saucy drippin' swag, do. You a bad girl and your friends bad too.